So we've learned more about the Elon Musk, Donald Trump impending breakup, none of which is shocking. But it turns out that Elon was not invited to the cabinet meeting, but appeared anyway, quite to the dismay of Trump's team. We found out from the New Republic that Elon Musk is pissing off everyone on Trump's team. Well, no shit. He thinks he knows everything. But I thought this was interesting. He wants to be seen as having a say in everything, even if he doesn't, one person in Trump's orbit said. I wonder why Elon wants to have a say in everything. Could it be because he gave Trump over $250 million to become president? And then so he would do a Tesla commercial, gave him another $100 million. Make no mistake, Elon Musk wants to be involved in everything because he bought and paid for the presidency of the United States. And it was sold to him by a man with no ethics, no principles, and no conviction or care about what's happening to the United States. It is not a surprise that Elon wants to put his hand in everything. And we know that Doge, his appointment to Doge, it was a 130-day appointment. That runs out in May. So here's where we are. We're going to find out after his term with Doge expires. Is Trump going to start leaking about Elon? Are the people on Trump's team going to leak more and more of the hideous behavior of Elon? And Elon, is he going to start leaking on Trump? Because as we've said from the jump, I just cannot help but think with these two malignant narcissists, there is not mutually assured destruction, and neither of them will be able to control themselves once Elon's term has expired. That's my hope anyway, because I want these two to go down. Speaking of going down, we have new polling out regarding how the people of the United States feel about their wannabe dictator president, Donald Trump.
Trump's net approval rating. Look at this. It's a huge slide in it. In early February, it was plus 6 points. Then you go to late February, plus 2 points. Then you go to March, it's even. And look at this massive jump from late March to now, minus 6 points. That's a 6-point drop in less than a month. And why is that occurring? It is because of the tariff war. The voters are punishing Donald Trump in one of his best polls, which now even that best poll is a negative poll for Donald Trump.
I've also seen polls that came out over the weekend that his approval rating on the economy is 44% approve, which I have to ask myself, who are the 44%? Are they unconscious? Are they the 1%? Who is approving of this man in any capacity? And so what we heard there was a reference to the tariffs. And we have heard Liberation Day, April 2nd, which turned out to be a total disaster, that he screeched back almost immediately because the economy was in a complete free fall. The stock market tanked. So then he pauses, but he doesn't pause against China because he has a real problem with China. And so now we're going back and forth with China. Here's where we stand as of right now on the tariffs that Trump has imposed. So Trump says he's going to exempt phones, computers, and chips from new tariffs. And I asked myself, who would be primarily rewarded if that exemption existed? And then I think, well, iPhone, Apple would be. And then I think, oh yeah, Tim Cook, he was on the stage at President Trump's inauguration. So I wonder if he made a phone call about these tariffs. That's where my thinking was headed. But oh no, Donald Trump, God forbid there be any routine or stability when it comes to him being president. He is the master of destruction. On Sunday, he announced there will be no tariff exemption announced on Friday, declaring those days are over. So here's the thing. We know that economies globally look to the United States for stability. And what we have now is every other country is looking at the United States. And as Kamala Harris said, and I quote, Donald Trump is a laughingstock. Unfortunately, now the American economy is a laughingstock. And the losers in this tariff war will be the American people. And in my opinion, disproportionately MAGA voters who are often white collar, blue collar, low income, because they don't have what Donald Trump needs anymore. He's transactional. They can't vote for him again. All they can do is buy his grifty riffraff shit. So he is only out to help the oligarchy. So we'll see what happens with the tariffs today or tomorrow or the next day. My guess is President Xi is not going to fuck around with Donald, because we know that Trump, reached out and wanted to make a phone call to talk negotiations with Xi last week regarding the tariffs. So what we learn now is report: China never responded to Trump's request for a phone call with Xi. Do you know why? Because she knows he's a dipshit. She knows that they hold more cards than the United States, because she is running around talking about a zero tariff policy with European nations. He's talking with South Korea and Japan about trading with them. The other leaders of the world are working together to keep the United States at bay. They're working to form an alliance that excludes the United States of America. And that is a sad day, because the United States has always been a leader on democracy and economics. And what we have now is Donald Trump is trying to destroy democracy at home, and global economy is tanking because of his policies. And make no mistake, the American people are the ones that are going to suffer. And then we have another move by China that came out. Breaking: China has offloaded $50 billion in U.S. Treasury bonds and limited further purchase of dollars. And it appears they're buying European bonds. So what that tells me is China looks at Donald Trump and all his tariffs and all his bluster and all his bullshit going back and forth, and he's saying, fuck you. You're a dipshit. I can outmaneuver you because I am smart and I can see the future. I can play the tape through. I have impulse control. Donald Trump has none of these things, because all he wants to do is pull his dick out and say, oh, I have the biggest dick. I'm going to do all this. Tariff you, come negotiate with me. And then he has his cabinet kissing his ass and telling him, oh, every country wants to negotiate with you. Well, it certainly doesn't appear that way, as the U.S. economy depends on the bond market. And now it's being undercut. We heard it was being undercut by Japan last week. Now we know it's being undercut by China. It has never been more important to fact check your news, understand who is providing you with the news, and have it checked for factuality. And that is why Jennifer and I use Ground News. Ground News provides access to all articles, and then it tells you what the author's factuality is on the news they provide. And that is really important. As we know, there is so much propaganda out there. So Ground News is the one source that you can trust and rely that the information that you're seeing is accurate. They also have a feature called Blind Spot, and that allows you to know what the right's talking about and what the left's talking about. So you have a complete overview of what's going on in the world of news. So please join us by going to groundnews.com/IHIP to get 40% off the Ground News Vantage plan that we use every day. They're subscriber funded and female founded. By subscribing, you're not only getting a tool we all need today, you're also supporting our work. That's Ground, GROUND news.com/IHIP. It's pinned below in the show notes. And another interesting thing, all you hear from MAGA is made in America, America first, we're the best, blah, 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 everything America, America, America. Well, I thought this video was I just got so tickled when I saw it.
The Trump store inside the Trump Hotel, and my question is, how many things inside of here are made in America? Ooh, look at that bomber jacket. China. This mug says designed in Oregon, but made in China. What about the classic Stanley Cup? made in China. Now this bottom shelf, I don't know what to think about it. This mug says designed in Oregon, but I don't see where it's made. So on this one, I took the price tag sticker off the bottle and there it is, made in China. There's no way the sticker is strategically placed over the made in China part, right? Let's take a look at all of them. Made in China covered, another made in China covered. This white one, made in China covered. Not everything was either China or USA. This Las Vegas hat was made in Bangladesh, and this woman's golf hat was made in Vietnam.
And there you have it, folks. The grifter has his products with his America First, Make America Great Again, all made in China, which we all knew. We all knew that. But this man is such a lying, deceptive grifter. And unfortunately, the people that buy that crap, they don't know. Either they don't care, they do not understand how ridiculous and hypocritical Trump and his entire administration is. And then one thing I thought that was really striking over the weekend is we interviewed Gavin Newsom during the election before he had Charlie Kirk on his podcast. And he was talking about how when California needed federal funding for natural disasters, that Trump didn't want to give it to them because California historically votes blue and specifically did not vote for Trump. And his aides had to beg him, and Gavin Newsom had to make a phone call to beg him to release the funds. And we're hearing about that. You know, it's whispered about all the time. Well, something that came out this weekend is the Trump administration, Donald Trump has denied North Carolina's request for an extension of FEMA relief for damage from Hurricane Helene because hurricanes blow, but Trump sucks. I thought that was a cute little play on words, but something that we have to remember is North Carolina voted for Trump 3 times. He does not want to extend natural disaster relief. Now, mind you, during the campaign, he was saying how Biden was withholding relief and Biden wasn't going to provide any FEMA relief for North Carolina. And we, as always, projection is reality when it comes to Donald Trump. Now, he is denying these people who voted for him for president 3 times. And the question that I have, is it because he's not running for president again, therefore he doesn't give a shit? Or does he just not give a shit about the people of North Carolina and the United States abroad, which that's a rhetorical question, obviously. Stick with us. We're trying to get to 1 million subscribers. We'll see you soon.